That was a gun.
I'm not voting.
If we want to build our nation.
The problem with the Somalians.
Just want to experience something else than a black man.
Move on, move
Can't be
forward.
like a horse with blinkers on.
Honestly say, I was about to have
Corrupt
sex and then I pulled
crap,
up.
but it's nice.
My name is Victor Snyders. I live in Atlantis. I'm a part-time student from Stellenbosch University, and I'm currently busy researching social entrepreneurship.
My name is Margie Alexander and I'm a community worker. I live in Atlantis, in Avondale. It is the very first section of Atlantis that was built.
Yeah, my name is Ralph Alexander and I'm a community worker. I live in Extension 12, well known for the trouble in Atlantis, the trouble area in Atlantis, and also that I am a coordinator of school sports.
Hi, my name is Peter Ladegan and I'm a communication specialist. I work in conservation but also very much in Atlantis with development through the media.
At weekends, you don't have any place other to hang out where you can either do any alternative thing to the mainstream, because you're either into sport or you go to church. But if you're not sporty, if you're not churchy and you'd like to go to a club, you will have to go to a Sabine, you know, to get down to, and then you will be exposed to the harsh elements of a community like Atlantis. And then the secondary thing that follows from that is drug abuse.
The Tuk, that is bad because we experience that many times, how they come into the office and they're completely paranoid. And we are actually sometimes in a very dangerous situation.
I was into all kinds of drugs. I was selling it, I was using it, I was doing bad things, and I was one of the guys that was probably more doing bad in his community than doing anything else.
These youngsters are on the streets. They are a nuisance, like the world say they are a nuisance. They're not a nuisance. Go and find out why are they on the street. You will find that it's because of the family. So we need to go and find out how can we help these children.
Now in Atlantis, I found that there is a margin of responsibility that the parents has to take, you know, in a sense where they also have to be brought along and to take responsibility of their kids.
For some of the legislation which government enacted officially cut off parents' hands to punish children, officially made parents more scared of their children, because if you're going to give a light in now, packs hiding. You know, nowadays, back in the day, you got your hiding if you did wrong and the police didn't come up to your door. But nowadays, if the boy breaks into the next door neighbor's house, you would rather want to send him to the police, and then the police then put the light through the system, and then another criminal is born.
Because it's useless telling the guy, the youngster, go back to your family when the family themselves are into drugs. So if we can have facilities where these children can be looked after, at least for a year, then that will be a help. What do you do with a youngster of 6 years? That's already sniffing glue. What do? You can't take that child away. If you take the child away, you need to put him somewhere where he can be safe from his parents.
All those laws are there to protect the child, but yes, but how does it protect the parents' right, inherent biological right to govern his siblings in form of training them, in blessing them, in giving them advice? You've got all organizations going out there, yeah, parents are doing this, but what organizations is actively promoting the rights of parents? How many legislation have been enacted to protect the rights of parenting? You know, how many, is there any parenting school? Because my father before me learned, you know, the hard way. We are now moving in an information society age where all of these laws have been enacted, but parents themselves, they've got no guideline. They only got the Bible.
If we talk about priorities, morals, all of those things we can teach our children, but we cannot make them accept it. So there is a joint responsibility between parent and the child.
Where does your upbringing start? At home. Where was that child born? At home. No, with a father and a mother. The discipline starts at home.
Parents need to, and typically what an organization like yours is doing, or Ralph has been doing in his capacity or otherwise, it's us sharing that knowledge of you being around a few times more than I've been around the block, being a few years on earth longer, knowing the what and the what-nots of it.
This morning I spoke to a parent that was going to take his child to the police for an interdict not to come to his house. We grow up. You know, and then you ask yourself, why are parents lost?
How often do you find somebody says that he's blessed his child, or he's rubbed some oil on his head by giving him good blessings with wisdom and understanding? That is where the responsibility lies with the parent and the child. The parent has failed in his duties. You know, he's forgotten to bless the child. And now the child goes haywire and he does just about anything that he thinks is good. And I know that the child is the best psychologist that you can find.
We as parents, we don't want the world to know that our children are into drugs. So we hide it. Okay, I'll see, maybe tomorrow it will go better. By that time, the thing is just growing and growing. The minute you see that child got something funny in his room, then it's my duty as a parent to speak up. I mustn't be worried what Peter's going to say or what Ralph is going to say. It's my responsibility, it's my child. But we hide away and we think when we give our children money and we have a status and the father's working, the mother's working, then it's okay. In the meantime, the children must fight their own ways.
A school here, Westphalia Primary School, has... they actually took children and they banned them from the school for a certain period of time because of their ill mannerisms. And the parents then came and they made, a issue of it. But now you have to follow and say, listen, we know that there is no corporate punishment. The alternate route to take is to punish you in the way that is acceptable, and what the principal did was to ban the children for 3 days from the school and let him feel, and I don't see why the legislation now has turned bitter because of the alternate route that has to be taken.
We live in a society and we've enacted these laws which is still in a punitive measure. They are still in the mindset that if you do wrong, you'll have to be corrected punitively. And a while ago, I was working on restorative justice. And the main thing is that before any issue arises, before that child begins to steal, before he begins to do drugs, we can't, currently this is the system, is reactionary. Okay, you've now broken in, now we work with you. Okay, you've done drugs, now we work with you. The symptoms is at school that the teacher sees that the boy is busy sleeping in class. By the time the mother finds out that the boy is sleeping in class is when the guy fails, is his subject. So the society which we live in have tried to promote a restorative process, but the system is still punitive.
I'm past the point where you can look up to your politicians and your other so-called leaders, and I call them so-called because what is a leader? So in the end of the day, it comes down to us as parents, as grandparents, as aunts and aunties, to really sort of reclaiming, going back to basics in a sense. Sort of, and the one thing that I do strongly believe in, where government failed big time, but it's not also necessarily a government thing, is the fact that we've been promoting since even pre-1994 the whole culture of rights and claiming your rights, but nobody's ever, as you said, there's no Bible or whatever for parents. There's never been, and probably not going to be for a while, the whole trend of saying what is rights versus your responsibilities, because surely if you want all these 120 different rights, there should be 5 million responsibilities to enable you to claim those rights.
When you are parenting, you must know exactly where you're moving to with your kid. We're talking about your kid here. And the responsibility that you have to bring along with bonding with that kid. And those are the things that we need to see from parents, that they support their children. And when I say that I'm using the sport as a vehicle, I am on that program on a Saturday morning where I plead with the parents practically to support the child, to go along, take the picnic basket if you must. Take it along and go and support the child, because nothing better can come out of that relationship than supporting the child and being there for the child. He then feels that he is absolutely important. And when you make somebody feel important, the best comes out of him.
There's not much for them to do, especially on a weekend. So if there are things for them to do, they will most probably, they find out that drugs are not for them, they will most probably turn to something else.
Events is the thing that keeps them going. If they have an event I would say a big event every month, like we plan and we condition and we create champions through all of this, having programs, holiday programs and stuff like that, to keep them busy. This is what we use as a vehicle in order to stimulate the youth as such, and to give them a chance in life, also to let them know that there is a chance for you to get to the green and gold. There is a chance for you to make this a career, the sport's a career. And those are the things that we preach in the schools, we preach it in the community, and myself also being on the radio, I preach that from time to time, and I find that they are grasping at that because they are desperate. They need to do something else except doing drugs, alcohol, and all those kinds of things.
My dream is plain and simple that if we are not going to start taking responsibility, that we are part of an organism that's called humanity. You can do whatever. You can go wherever. If you look at the revolutions, and if I have to recall Kropotkin, one of the greats of Marxist theory, he said that a revolution is started by the people because the need of the people is expressed in the anger manifested during the protest, in the rallies and the slogans. And at this moment, there's an anger towards government. There's an anger worldwide towards capitalist societies, because if you look at the stock market, if you look at the TV, the only thing you're seeing is that capitalism, well, it's capitalism. The people haven't come anywhere near to what they want to achieve.
My dream is that those children are on the streets, that they may become something one day, because those children are our future. I will be gone, but at least if I know one of those 3 children will become a doctor or a lawyer, then I know I've worked for something.
My dream would be, to find Atlantis leading the Western Cape, in all spheres of sport or anything that you can think of, and for the culture as well, to bring out the natural culture that we have, so that people can be aware of the fact that where we come from, and that we are also we also belong in this South Africa of ours.
My dream, in short, would really be, however high and mighty it might sound, is to really see youngsters developing their dreams. I'm also past the stage of dreaming. I sort of stay awake and do it. But it comes down to, really, for me, it's one of those things where youngsters, all of us, all kids of whatever age, want to be something someday, somewhere. And that can be done, and that's the beautiful thing of it. And that's really my dream in a nutshell, to create an enabling environment, whether it is through communities and community developmental initiatives, whether it's through the media, and in my case it would be the media, radio and television and all of that, is to create an enabling environment for kids to start flourishing, reaching their dreams.